I stand at the window of the cabin, the golden light of the autumn sun spilling through the trees that mark the boundary of our little sanctuary. In contrast to the biting chill outside, the warmth inside reminds me of so many shared moments. I can almost hear Mark's laughter again, echoing off the walls, blending with the melodic crackle of the fire that used to be our evening ritual. The scent of pine mingles with the smoke, wrapping me in a cocoon of nostalgia, evoking the essence of our family's history. I remember the sacrifices I made to ensure he had a good life, those sleepless nights when I paced the floors, soothing his teething cries, the hours spent kneading dough for homemade bread that would fill our home with warmth and comfort, how he would race down that narrow staircase, eager to taste a slice fresh from the oven, his sticky fingers grasping for more. Each bite came with a smile that illuminated my world. As I think back to our first family trip here, I can see the landscape unfolding like a hidden treasure, the sense of adventure palpable in the air. It was one of those crisp mornings when the dew still clung to the grass, and we set off together, his tiny hand clasped in mine. We explored every nook and cranny, from the reflection of the lake to the towering pines. It was here, in the embrace of nature, that I instilled in him a love for family roots. I cherish those memories, the gleam in his eye as he discovered the joy of being outdoors. But in the shadows of these joyous recollections, a nagging fear seeps into my mind, the fear of being forgotten, of being dismissed as something merely old-fashioned and inconsequential. I glance at the worn kitchen table, its wood polished by years of shared meals. That table has witnessed celebrations and heartbreaks, laughter and tears, yet today it seems to bear witness to my growing insignificance. I trace my fingers along the tablecloth, a faded blue, fraying at the edges. Each thread weaves a story, reminding me that the love I nurtured is still vibrant, but feels threatened by the looming presence of change. As I prepared for our gatherings, my hands would sometimes tremble, not from age, but from the weight of unspoken judgments that swirl in the background. Time has been a fickle friend. With each passing season, I find myself wrestling with the reality that Elizabeth now occupies a space beside Mark that was once reserved for me. Her presence feels like an echo of everything I worked so hard to build, yet now twisted into something oppressive. I remember welcoming her into our family, hoping that she would share the values I instilled in Mark, yet I can't shake the feeling that she sees the cabin as merely a relic, a burden entangled in the fabric of material worth. As I breathe in the rustic aromas of the cabin, I remind myself that this place holds more than just walls. It holds memories of love, labor, and connection. I must remember, I am more than the sum of my fears. I have given my all to this family. It is time to reclaim my voice before the echoes fade into silence. I whisper to myself, in a world where love is measured by material worth, I will fight for what truly matters. The thought ignites something deep within me, solidifying my resolve. This legacy is not merely a cabin. It is a tapestry of my life, woven through love and resilience. The cabin is alive with chatter, a cacophony of voices and laughter that dances through the air like falling leaves. It's a Saturday, and I've spent the morning preparing for the gathering. The table is set with my best china, a delicate floral pattern that never fails to spark nostalgia. The aroma of baked chicken fills the room, blending with the earthy scent of fireplace smoke. It should feel festive, but a heaviness hangs in the atmosphere, an uninvited guest lurking at the edges of our joy. As I open the door, Elizabeth steps inside, haloed by the soft afternoon light. Her polished exterior, tailored blazer, designer jeans, contrasts sharply with the rustic charm of the cabin. I try to welcome her with warmth, but a chill runs through me as she surveys her surroundings, perhaps weighing their worth. Wow, it really is quaint, she remarks with a smile that feels rehearsed, almost plastic. I force myself to smile back, but the words settle like gravel in my stomach, setting off disquieting echoes. Janet, it's nice to see you, she continues, feigning exuberance. But as she embraces me, I sense the tension in her grip, tight, calculating. My instincts scream in warning, and I pay close attention to how she observes everything. The pictures on the walls, the antique clock ticking away the moments, the family albums stacked neatly on the shelf. Her eyes dart and linger, cataloging what belongs to me. Do you still use the old air conditioning unit? She asks, her tone mimicking curiosity but laced with an undercurrent that sends my heart racing. I nod, aware that in her world, practicality reigns supreme. To her, the cabin is a ticking time bomb of inefficiency. Maybe it's time for some renovations, she suggests flippantly, as if our family home could be anything less than a sanctuary of memories. The comment drips with disdain for something sacred, and although I try to brush it off, anger flares within me. How can she not realize what this place means? Do she and Mark even understand the sacrifices I made to preserve it? Throughout dinner, her barbs become sharper, polished like the silverware on the table. Who needs a creaky old cabin when you could have a stylish condo by the beach? It's the memories that count, right? She remarks, casting a sideways glance at Mark, who seems absorbed in his plate, avoiding my eyes. My throat tightens and I maintain my composure, drawing from the depths of my motherly strength. Yet inside, I churn with a tempest of conflicting emotions: hurt, betrayal, fear, navigating the turbulent waters of her condescension. I breathe deeply, feeling the air thick with unspoken words. Elizabeth's comments slip effortlessly from her lips, masked as humor. The children, whom I cherished with all my heart, seem oblivious, laughing at jokes they are too young to comprehend. They mirror their mother's aloof indifference, and I feel the edges of this family dynamic begin to fray. As dessert is served, a recipe passed down from generations, I make an effort to regain control of the conversation. Did I ever tell you about the time Mark got lost in the woods here? I attempt to inject warmth back into the gathering. After all, this is a space of love, a vessel of shared history. But Elizabeth intercepts, her voice halting my tender recollection. Oh, but didn't he get lost because he didn't know how to follow directions? Kids today are so distracted by gadgets. All you need is a decent smartphone app. Her laughter rings out like a bell, and the sheer dismissiveness stings, ripping through the fragile veil of my nostalgia. In that moment, the cabin feels like a stage, and I am cast as the forgotten grandmother of a bygone era, unable to transition into a modern world. Her words linger, closing around me like a noose, and I search for a sparking connection with my son, some glimmer of solidarity against the tide. But he seems anchored in uncomfortable silence. The sinking pit in my stomach settles deeper. Does he even realize the import of her words? Or has he too learned to ignore the fleeting memories that shape who we are? With each passing moment, I feel the foundation of our family relationship shake beneath me. The cabin, my sanctuary, becomes a battleground of values and perceptions I never planned to confront. The joy of the evening is overshadowed by Elizabeth's relentless critique. It is as if she seeks to diminish the very essence of what I built for my family. I catch a glimpse of the family photo on the mantel, an image frozen in time, and it offers me a refuge from the storm. With every photo, I remember the years filled with love, my heart swelling with pride for my son, the child I raised to cherish the beauty of our legacy. I will not surrender that joy without a fight. As I serve dessert, I remind myself that I must stand firm. The cabin may appear worn and outdated, but its heart beats with rich, unyielding love. I look at Mark, searching for an unspoken promise between us, a commitment to uphold the love and traditions that defined our lives. Yet, all I find is a lingering silence, deep and disheartening. The words of my mantra return to me, echoing in the silence of the cabin, each syllable igniting a flicker of hope within my breast. In a world where love is measured by material worth, I will fight for what truly matters. Now more than ever, I need to reclaim my voice, to arouse the spirit of this family before it's drowned beneath Elizabeth's ambitions. The battle has begun, and I'm not ready to lose. The echoes of laughter linger long after the guests have left, a mocking reminder of the evening's painful exchanges. The cabin once felt alive, filled with warmth, but now the silence presses in, heavy like a shroud. I stand alone in the kitchen, the remnants of dinner scattered across the counter, half-empty plates, an untidy stack of napkins, a couple of glasses that held once sweet wine now long forgotten. With a weary sigh, I reach for the sponge to clean up, my hands moving automatically, but my mind drifts back over the past few months. Each holiday dinner feels like a replay of this very script, with Elizabeth's words growing sharper, each comment a barbed reminder of my diminished standing. "It's best to let go of the old and make way for the new," she said at our last gathering, her voice laced with condescension. How many times must I endure this silent humiliation, this weight of her criticism, with Mark's gaze diverted to his plate? Despite my careful planning for future gatherings, a gnawing anxiety grows within me. I had hoped to capture a moment of familial unity to overshadow the looming presence of her materialistic views. Instead, I'm turned into a relic of the past. One by one, I can feel the memories crumbling, the laughter of my grandchildren fading into a distant resonance as their mother's disdainful stance gradually molds their perceptions. The creeping erosion of our relationships gnaws at my heart. Every time I catch the dismissive look on Elizabeth's face, it pierces me all over again. "Are you really going to keep that ancient furniture?" she quipped last week, sneering at the heirlooms I've held dear. "It's just taking up space." Each remark stings like a well-aimed arrow. Every time she calls the cabin old-fashioned, I can feel the weight of her scorn anchored in my chest. And what of Mark? He remains steadfastly silent, as if his silence can shield him from the discomfort of reality, the reality where his wife belittles my legacy, the place where his roots are entwined. I try to coax conversation from him about these issues, but he deflects with practiced ease, offering superficial reassurances that everything is just fine. Yet, it becomes painfully clear that his silence endorses the narrative Elizabeth weaves, and it leaves me feeling invisible, as if my very essence is fading like autumn leaves blown away by the wind. I retreat to the living room, where the fireplace crackles low, casting flickering shadows against the walls. I pull out old family albums, treasured tomes of our collective history, hoping they will remind me of the bond between Mark and me. Page after page, I flip through the snapshots, reliving moments filled with joy and warmth, birthdays, holidays, vacations, all intertwined with laughter and love. I feel a bittersweet stirring in my chest, a longing to hold on to what once connected us so deeply. But then there are the memories of the children, their faces mirroring Elizabeth's increased distance. They used to run to me, laughter spilling over as we crafted together, explored the woods, or played games. I closed the album slowly, feeling despair settle over me like a cold blanket. The warmth of those moments seems to pale against the shroud of present discontent. The day after the gathering, as I prepare for the quiet solitude of a typical Sunday, I decide to take a walk around the property. Each step through the crisp autumn leaves feels heavier than the last, burdened by the weight of my silent battles. I pause under the old oak tree, a sentinel that has watched over so many seasons. Its leaves cascade around me like memories drifting away out of reach. A small part of me yearns to confront Elizabeth directly, to lay bare the hurt and disappointment that I feel. But then I hesitate, inspecting every corner of my heart where fragments of fear dwell, fear of losing Mark entirely, fear of igniting further conflict. I'll have to choose my battles wisely, I remind myself. I cannot afford to chase him away when he is my only tether to the family I built. In the stillness, I repeat my mantra in a soft whisper, grounding me like the roots of that oak. In a world where love is measured by material worth, I will fight for what truly matters. This morning, it serves as my glimmer of determination, my anchor against the tide of hurtful remarks and internal strife. As I look out across the property, I reaffirm that I will take back my place, my voice. This cabin is mine. It is not merely walls and furniture. It is a history painted in vibrant memories and love. I resolve to share the truths held within these walls, not just for my sake, but for Mark, for my grandchildren. They must know the stories behind their heritage, the lessons I imparted with love. I can't remain invisible any longer. My story deserves to be told, as must the heart of this family. The air is thick with the anticipation of what's to come as I step back into the cabin, a renewed sense of purpose swirling inside me. I find myself contemplating how to capture the essence of our past, the memories I'm determined to share with Mark and the grandkids. To forge a path forward, I must ensure that Elizabeth's influence doesn't overshadow our love for family, nor erase the soul of this home. Before confronting the challenges that loom ahead, I decide it's time to gather evidence, not just of my own memories, but of the subtle shifts happening under Elizabeth's reign in our family. Over the next few days, I embark on my quiet investigation. I start by revisiting old family albums and meticulously organizing decades of photographs and notes, those little reminders of family holidays, birthdays, and milestones. Each snapshot becomes a key to unlocking the past, revealing the bond we shared before Elizabeth's arrival. I lay out images across the dining table. I want each story to breathe, to emerge from the faded colors on the paper. My fingers brush over Mark's beaming face as a child holding his first catch on a fishing trip, the glow of joy illuminating his features, a stark contrast to the muted expressions that have begun to emerge in recent gatherings. I close my eyes for a moment and try to recall how soft his laughter was, how wonderful it felt to hear the story slip from his lips, recounting that day. I make a list of stories to tell, an arsenal of anecdotes filled with warmth, lessons, and the love that blanketed his childhood. I add in my notes the intimate moments, first steps taken in the cabin, the countless birthday cakes baked together, the laughter shared after winter snowfalls, as well as the quiet, stern moments when he learned the importance of respect and integrity. Each tale is infused with meaning, a reminder of who we are and who we can be, and serves as a beacon guiding us back to what truly matters. Throughout this busy week, I also begin to observe Elizabeth more keenly, her interactions at Sunday family dinners becoming a new focal point of mine. I watch how she tends to move through the gathering, always in the background, toiling away in the kitchen, while simultaneously cutting through conversations with dismissive remarks, leaving others uncomfortable and me infuriated. The way she maneuvers herself around my family feels so deliberate, crafted to ensure I remain an afterthought. At one gathering, I notice her slight smirk when Mark jokes about another family subject that seems to be our little secret. It's disheartening as I begin to realize that it's becoming common for her to reduce my role to a mere historical reference. "Oh, Mom used to do that," she'll say, her tone light but edged with condescension. It's as if she is attempting to rewrite our family's narrative, placing herself at the forefront while pushing me into the shadows. After each dinner, I journal my observations, crafting a clearer picture of the subtle gaslighting that has begun to take hold, discrepancies in what is said versus what is experienced. I write down incidents that feel erroneous, moments that gnaw at my gut. Elizabeth's tone, at times, drips with irony. How quaint, regarding family traditions, layered with her jab at perceived old-fashioned values. With each noted offense, I realize how insignificance can easily burrow into the heart of a family, especially when you've grown accustomed to feeling like the warm core. I begin to understand the need for boundaries, to regain my autonomy, not just for me, but for my children and grandchildren. Conversations with the grandchildren become more intentional. I share my memories of the cabin's early days and allow them to relive their heritage through these stories, instilling in them the values that once flowed freely like the streams we used to explore together. Their eyes sparkle with curiosity as I discuss the ingenuity that went into making this cabin a home, the lessons tied to laughter and heartache. I whisper to them about the creaks in the floorboards and where the old oak tree stands, the tree that has witnessed love across generations. The children seem enchanted, and I see the seeds of connection blooming within them. In my quest, I realize I must also seek out Mark more directly. I set up a casual lunch for just the two of us, but my heart races with uncertainty. Will he understand? Will he support me or simply side with Elizabeth? I cook his favorite, spaghetti carbonara, the meal that once brought us such joy. Over the meal, I share the family stories, those I've collected and curated. I watch his face, his initial smiles fading as the heaviness of our present takes hold. I share the changes I've noticed, the way Elizabeth critiques our traditions amid her constant pursuit of materialism. The further I delve into my thoughts, the more reluctant he becomes to meet my gaze. "Mom, with all due respect, you have to understand that things change," he finally says, and my heart sinks with every syllable. What if these old ways don't really resonate anymore? He picks at his food, avoiding my eyes. "But they do resonate," I interject, hoping that my passion will break through to him. "These traditions are what shaped you, what built the family. What do you have when you let them go?" Mark attempts to reassure. "There's room for both, you know. We just have to adapt." Adapt. The word strikes hard. Change was what had shattered my ground. And while Mark seems willing to float on the current, I know I cannot let the connection we share be swept away beneath it. I resolve that, together, we must cling to the roots that bind us, even while navigating future uncertainties. As I clean up the dishes after our lunch, I feel a flicker of hope. Perhaps, I think, we can draw him back into our legacy, help him to see the true essence that must not only be preserved but championed. And as I remind myself to breathe life back into our family narrative, I hold close my mantra. In a world where love is measured by material worth, I will fight for what truly matters. It reverberates through me, a promise that I won't break, and this battle is only just beginning. The days continue to unfold in a blur of contemplation and anxious strategy. Yet, deep down, I clutch tightly to the hope ignited after my conversation with Mark. As the leaves begin to fall outside, I know that the time for action is drawing closer. Time to shift the narrative and reclaim my space within this family. I seek solace in the soothing rhythms of the cabin's familiar chores, each task grounding me amidst the swirling uncertainty. I water the potted plants, dust the shelves, and light the fireplace, embracing these rituals as connections to my past, a testament to the love poured into every corner of our home. But even as I engage in these tasks, a sense of urgency stirs in me. I need to plan my next step carefully to ensure my voice resonates strongly enough to break through Elizabeth's relentless tide. I decide to host a family gathering, one that'll celebrate our legacy. I envision a beautiful autumn evening of stories, laughter, and perhaps even the rekindling of customs that Elizabeth has ignored in her quest for modernity. I add colorful autumn decorations, fall-themed table settings, and an array of dishes that hark back to the family's favorite recipes. Each element becomes a statement, a reclamation of what has been overlooked. As I send out invitations, I notice Mark's hesitant thumbs hovering over the screen, caught in the liminality of a decision. Yet I stand firm. I remind myself that this gathering must be a platform for truth, entrusting Mark with the power to choose how he will engage. When the day of the gathering arrives, I feel a mix of excitement and trepidation illuminating every corner of the cabin. I hustle to ensure every detail is perfect. The front door is adorned with a cornucopia of autumn leaves, eager to welcome family in, while the dining table is filled with dishes that hold history. Handmade lasagna with cream and cheese, chili simmered from the recipe I perfected in my youth, and buttery cornbread that embodies the warmth of home. As guests begin to gather, I feel the tension rise in the air. Elizabeth walks in with a strained smile as if putting on a masquerade. Mark strides behind her, a shadow of uncertainty cast across his face. The children race around, their laughter merging with the autumn wind drifting through the open window. I can hear the irrigation of their energy, a phonetic reminder of simpler days. "Wow, this looks wonderful, Mom," Mark says, his tone giving me a glimmer of encouragement. But Elizabeth's eyes scan the room, dismissing the warmth radiating from our traditions. "Did you really need to go all out like this?" she quips, and it stings, but I remain resolute. Her scorn burns, but I've prepared for this, equipped with a plan that will allow me to stand tall despite her derision. I guide everyone to the dining room. We gather around the table, and I witness their initial delight, but there's an underlying tension in the air, a palpable itch that Elizabeth cannot ignore. As we begin to eat, I initiate stories of our past, the summer we all went camping and how that unexpectedly led to the best chocolate chip cookies we ever baked in the cabin. I aim these memories at Mark, hoping to ignite a sense of nostalgia, a comfort that perhaps even Elizabeth can't fully dismiss. I remember the time we got lost on that hike, and we ended up having a picnic by the river, I recount, laughing as I look at the faces around the table. Those who were present are drawn in, their eyes softened by the memories. Mark grins, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Elizabeth's smile falter. This is the moment that I need to seize, to break the mold of their laughter that so easily turns to dismissals. I press on, weaving in the significance of our shared history, softening the edges of Elizabeth's scrutiny with affection. "Family means remembering where we came from," I say, hoping those words wrap around the room like a warm blanket. It's more than just being with each other. It's understanding the values that tie us together. We need to hold on to our stories during times of change. "They are our roots," Elizabeth responds with a forced chuckle, but I can see it in the way her brows crease, the way her fingers fidget with the tablecloth. "Oh, is that what you think? That clinging to the past is the best way forward?" she asks, her voice edged with skepticism. There it is, the challenge I knew was coming. And yet, I feel the room poised, every eye fixed between our exchange, watching with bated breath. Actually, I counter calmly, it's about blending our stories with new experiences. It's understanding that memories can evolve too. Our past doesn't have to be shackles, it can inform our future. I glance over at Mark, who looks torn between his loyalty to his wife and his affection for the history we've built together. There's a flicker of recognition in his eyes, a spark that says he understands but struggles to embody. Undeterred, I move the conversation on, calling the children over to share anecdotes from their lives, coaxing their laughter to fill the gaps of tension. They chime in with great enthusiasm, recounting tales of school projects and adventures that hold their own weight in our family narrative. I see Mark's smile re-emerge at their joy, and I cling to this thread of connection, holding on to my purpose. In that moment I stand tall, feeling the strength of every ancestor who built this cabin surrounding me. This space is imbued with history, love, and life, experience that cannot be uprooted by dismissive hands. Finally, as dessert settles around the table, I plant my flag. A cherry pie made from my mother's cherished recipe, warm from the oven, its smell filling the room with nostalgia. I place it at the center, letting its vibrant red color become a focal piece amidst the festive decor. Let's make a toast, I say, using this opportunity to rally everyone, to family and to the stories that weave our lives together. We may be changing, but the heart remains vital. I offer a resolute smile, watching Mark's face soften as my words hang delicately in the air. As we raise our glasses, I note the tension lift slightly. Elizabeth's grip tightens on her glass, but even she cannot completely mask the unfolding warmth now present. Today has not merely been a gathering, it has transformed into a battlefield where love and legacy press against the thorns of resentment, and I feel a hard-won victory beginning to surface. Mark catches my gaze and holds it, and for a fragile moment I feel hope blooming. Perhaps this union of stories, memories, and love will root deeply enough to rebuff the encroaching shadows. I whisper softly to myself my mantra. In a world where love is measured by material worth, I will fight for what truly matters. This time it doesn't just echo in my mind, it reverberates through the hearts around me. Because today I am not just reclaiming space for myself, I'm stitching new thread into the fabric of our family legacy. As the evening unfolds, I bask in the warmth of shared laughter and stories, a rejuvenating balm that temporarily dispels the lingering tension. Mark's eyes dart toward me with each recounting, a reassuring smile breaking through the clouds of unease. Yet even amidst this warmth, I recognize that peace is a fragile construct, especially when it comes to Elizabeth, whose dismissal of our history threatens to overshadow our fleeting joy. I take a deep breath, feeling a familiar knot form in my stomach as I prepare to confront the rising tension. The time for decisive action has come. I cannot let this critical moment slip away. Standing tall, I announce, "Can we take a moment to reflect on what matters here?" The room goes quiet, the air thick with anticipation as every eye turns toward me, including Elizabeth's, which flashes with defiance. Tonight isn't just about eating pie, I continue, my voice steady and resolute. It's about appreciating our legacy, the connections that have brought us together. This cabin represents our history and the love that has flourished here. Oh, great! Another lecture on family traditions, Elizabeth scoffs, her eyes rolling in overt dismissal. The corners of her mouth twist downward as she speaks, betraying her impatience. Is that how you see my memories? I challenge, my heart pounding. These stories shaped who we are and rooted us in love, together, not just as individuals trying to survive in a world that constantly shifts. Mark's unease is palpable. I can sense his hesitation. Mom, I know things change, but we shouldn't forget what matters, I press on, desperate to anchor our conversation in something meaningful. Mark watches intently as I confront Elizabeth. I recall those summers around the campfire. Mark, all those moments with your friends, the bonding. I hope those snippets of nostalgia stir something in him. Of course, he replies slowly, a thoughtful expression forming on his face. But just as I expect a reaction from him, Elizabeth interjects, her tone sharper than before. Let's not romanticize those days as if they were perfect. Everyone has issues. Exactly. The imperfections make our tales richer, I respond, my voice rising slightly. We grow from conflicts, but we can't disregard what brought us here. This cabin isn't just wood and nails. It radiates the love, sacrifice, and pride of our family. Mark shifts his posture, clearly torn. Mom, I think I get both sides, he finally says. But what if we all let go a little and find something new to hold on to? It feels like a punch to the gut. But Mark, if we let go of our stories, what are we? What connects us to each other? My desperation weighs heavy in my chest. Elizabeth pounces on this opportunity, her confidence returning. It's about growing and adapting, not holding on to a past that doesn't apply anymore. I mean, why should we keep reliving old stories? Mark's responses are more compelling now, steadily rising above the noise surrounding us. Mom's memories aren't just nostalgia, they are a part of me. They've shaped my values and who I am. If I disregard them, I lose a piece of myself. The air shifts, the room charged with a new energy. I sense a layer of vulnerability in Elizabeth's expression. She may be a formidable opponent, but Mark's reaffirmation casts a light in the darkness. Mark looks at me, his expression softening. We need to celebrate what we have while still making room for growth, he articulates earnestly. Isn't that what family is about? I seize this glimmer of understanding. Yes, perhaps we can acknowledge our past while making space for new perspectives. We don't have to erase history. We can honor it as we move forward. Elizabeth hesitates, her bravado cracking slightly as her arms uncross. It's complicated, she admits reluctantly, glancing away. That's life, Mark replies. We're all part of this complicated weave. He gestures around the table, including the children. In the past, these truths may have felt lost under the weight of arguments, but now a renewed perspective begins to emerge, a chance for collaboration. The children now speak up, their eager voices breaking into the adult argument, eager to recount their own tales of school projects and friendships. They share stories that can only come with youth, the resilience and laughter that emerge from shared experiences. I smile, grateful for their innocence, drawing the adults into a brighter space. As they speak, I listen intently, and my heart begins to swell with hope. Perhaps we are all beginning to mend the fracture in our family, rebuilding with harmonized voices instead of sharp disagreements. After dessert fades, I lean back in my chair, looking around the table. Every face radiates potential, each moment a stitch sewn into the fabric of our family legacy. Emotions surge through the room, and when a lull settles, I propose, let's make a toast, honoring both the past and the promise of tomorrow. Mark and Elizabeth allow their glasses to clink with mine. To the stories that weave us together, I state, my voice steady. We may be changing, but the heart of this family remains vital. As they raise their glasses, I take a deep breath and fortify myself with the familiar mantra echoing in my mind. In a world where love is measured by material worth, I will fight for what truly matters. This evening, we faced the shadows, confronting our truths together as a family. The threads of legacy interweave through shared laughter and food, and I hold on to the hope that perhaps these moments will carry us through the uncertain times ahead, allowing us to reclaim what has been lost in the midst of modern life. Together, we can nurture our family's soul across generations, crafting new memories while embracing the stories that brought us here in the first place. The vibrant energy in the room swells as laughter fills the air, but beneath that lively surface, I can sense the unspoken tension brewing. It's exhilarating, yet unnerving, and I know that the critical moment is at hand. I can no longer afford to ignore the shadows lingering just beneath our shared joy. Elizabeth, I begin, my voice steady but firm, can we take a moment to address where we stand? I feel that we've started to weave something beautiful tonight, but we must confront the issues that divide us. Suspicion flickers in her eyes as she crosses her arms. Not everything has to be a confrontation, you know, she responds, her tone dismissive. True, but avoiding the difficult conversations only pulls us further apart. This evening has shown us a possibility for healing, a glimpse of hope among shared stories and laughter, I assert, feeling my heart racing, determination surging within me. Mark shifts uncomfortably, caught between us. I sense he's on the verge of saying something, so I continue. Our family can thrive even in conflict. We can disagree and still love one another. Elizabeth's expression darkens. And what about your expectations? You want everything to stay the same, as if nothing has changed. I take a deep breath. I want respect for our history. Our family's legacy is important. My voice carries the weight of years spent nurturing our family, and I feel vulnerable yet resolute under Elizabeth's scrutiny. She snaps back. If the past is so vital to you, then maybe you understand how my vision matters too. I'm trying to build something that works for my family. Your family, or our family? I ask pointedly, the tension thickening the air. Mark deserves to see us face our differences and engage with the world. He shouldn't be made to choose sides. Mark exhales deeply, his face a mix of concern and peacemaking intent. I just want us to work as a family. Can we do that? The room holds silence, children watching us intently, soaking in the atmosphere of grown-up conflict. I see their curious eyes shift between our faces, sensing the fervor of the moment. Elizabeth falters for a moment, her voice softening just a bit. It's difficult for me to navigate, she admits, glancing away. I mean, I know you care about the history, but I want my experiences to matter too. Then include me in that narrative, I urge her, my heart pounding. You don't have to alienate me to create your vision. We can weave our stories together. She looks at me directly now, and for a brief moment, our defenses drop. Maybe we can try, she finally concedes, meeting my gaze, the challenge of the evening hanging in the air. My heart swells with relief, and I lean forward with renewed energy. Yes, let's draft this vision together, I emphasize. We can engage with our past while making space for the future. It doesn't have to be either or. Mark watches us intently, and I swear I see a flicker of pride in his glance. The kids are once again bursting with energy, sharing their thoughts on how we might honor both the legacy and new beginnings, with excitement shining in their eyes. As their voices weave stories, I can feel the atmosphere shift once more. We're not just reclaiming space, we're actively developing a family narrative that includes everyone. With dessert plates cleared and laughter ringing through the air, I propose, let's make a toast, honoring that we can embrace both our history and what lies ahead. Mark and Elizabeth raise their glasses beside mine. To the stories that unite us, I declare, to the heart of this family that remains vital no matter how much we change. As we clink glasses, I ground myself with the familiar words echoing in my mind. In a world where love is measured by material worth, I will fight for what truly matters. Tonight, we faced our truths together, transformed adversities into opportunities for connection, and rewrote the narrative that binds us, a family born from love and resilience, ready to thrive as one. The shadows of conflict that once threatened to divide us now serve as stepping stones toward a brighter future. Together, we forge ahead, knowing that our journey toward unity is just beginning.